We're back with another episode of Kenan and Kel with Adam and Aaron. Adam and Aaron watch Kenan and Kel, the 96 to 97 to 98 and beyond Nickelodeon sitcom. My name is Adam.
And I'm Aaron.
I just realized we're in season 2, so it's kind of weird to call it the 96 sitcom.
It's 97 now. Filmed in 97. Half of the season is released in 97, or the majority, and then some is in the early part of 98, I believe.
Yep. They film them in the spring and they release them in the fall, winter.
We are back again in season 2, which is shaping up to be a pretty stellar season, if I might say so myself.
It is glorious so far.
Yeah, compared to season 1 where we were with, what was episode 2 of season 1?
Well, episode 2 is Tanny of the Screw. Bad example.
Okay, bad example. But episode Da Bomb, it's like that comes pretty early on in season 1.
Or Mental Telepathy, just a bunch of kind of duds like that.
We're already building up a pretty good buffer for those not so good ones.
This episode is season 2, episode 2. Clowning Around, which is I would like to highlight is written by someone, a lady named Magda Leolis.
Well, Magda did a great job really knowing the characters and then helping them shine through in their prime.
As we've discussed before, she's a writer that has not been on any other episodes and doesn't do any ones after this.
She definitely watched some episodes. She did her homework.
Absolutely. I could see that, she knows all these characters. Mm-hmm. They have a Bible.
She must be a Fanta.
Yeah. So, before we get into the episode, you have a George Carlin-style intro for us?
No, but I have a Dan Carlin-style intro.
Damn it. Every time I get it wrong.
It's hard to separate the human species from comedy. Anthropological evidence suggests that ever since the beginning of our history, we were making each other laugh. I mean, think about it this way. It's hard to imagine our ancestors, 100,000 years ago even, who were fully Homo sapiens at that point, not much Neanderthal inbreeding anymore. It's hard to imagine that these folks weren't cracking fart jokes around the campfire. Laughter is one of those primal responses that has lingered, and for good reason. It's safe to say, at least from my perspective, that laughter is in our DNA. We have a decent record of how far back organized performance comedy goes. From poetry to plays, it's fairly certain that these career comics originated alongside the first literary works, but arguably even much later than that. If you really wanted to know, you'd have to read more than just 2 Wikipedia articles. Comedy took many different forms throughout the ages, from court jesters to playwrights like Shakespeare, to situation comedies, to the modern-day stand-up comedian, to, of course, apps like Twitter and TikTok. Comedy has been around for a long while. And being as it's one of those things that unites people together, I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon. Believe it or not, there's one form of comedy that we have massive amounts of evidence for. It's been around for at least 4,500 years, dating back to ancient Egypt. Though again, maybe even before that. No, I'm not talking about knock-knock jokes. I'm talking about clowning. Historians argue that clowning originated as a kind of counterbalance to the more serious priestly figures of ancient times. Oddly enough, sometimes these roles were actually held by the same individual. While the priest performs rituals and reminded the community of their imminent death, the clown was there to provide some physical slapstick laughter, some jovial, less serious comedy, maybe even some humanitarianism. Different from court jesters, clowns embodied the trickster archetype, trying their hardest to remind their communities of just how ridiculous it was to be alive. In recent years, clowns have unfortunately turned from funny to scary, even criminal in some cases. Horror movies are to thank for that, as is the Joker character from Batman. Today, clowns aren't as funny as they are terrifying. We basically have a whole culture who associates clowns with deceit, trickery, and even inexplicable murder. Unfortunately for Kenan Rockmore and Kel Kimball, they come face to face with one of these more criminal clowns. A clown that is surely on track to continue the dismantling of classic clownhood. Whether you're a fan of clowns or not, this episode is sure to produce some laughter.
Wow, that was nothing like George Carlin. That was very Dan Carlin. You were right.
I tried to pull out my best Dan Carlin there. Sometimes I don't feel like I don't have the gusto of Mr. Carlin, but I try to summon it every now and then.
This episode, getting right into the intro here, starts differently than any other one, right? It is just Kel on stage.
Kel walks out on stage by himself with a plaid bucket hat on, and it's a very nice bucket hat. But he quickly tells the audience that it's Kenan's birthday, and he tells them that when he comes on stage, everybody yells surprise.
Yes, and everyone is very enthusiastic and ready. He summons Kenan, and boom, they all shout surprise.
And then Kenan has a heart attack and collapses in front of everybody.
Yeah, there's a very short one this week, I thought.
Very short. Such a young man should not have such a fragile heart.
I like Kenan's outfit in the first two scenes.
I was gonna say the same thing. So it's a checkered shirt, but there's only 4 big checkers.
Yeah.
And it's like teal and then a navy blue, and it's a polo shirt. And then in the next scene, which we'll see, is the same exact design except orange and yellow, 2 colors that always go together.
Yeah, right. Orange, yellow, and a white collar. Just it's very odd.
It's very 90s.
Very 90s. At least it's not like crazy loud or confusing like some of their outfits are.
Yeah, no, it's a fun 90s look. I think somebody could pull this shirt off today with the little retro style.
Hey, I would wear only polos like this, except it was like every different color combo. There was like a green one with a dark green, light green.
Yeah, have all of them stocked up. Wear a different one every day. It's like your uniform.
Yeah, so Kel, following up his big surprise, rolls out a cake.
Yeah, and as Kenan's crawling off the ground, the cart that the cake is on hits him, and he's not very happy about that.
And he informs Kel that it is not, in fact, his birthday.
In fact, the cake says, Happy Bar Mitzvah, Benjamin.
Yes. So,
and it has only one of, like, a dozen candles lit.
Yeah, he got the wrong date and the wrong cake.
Kenan asks if the cake's for him, and Kel says, duh, and he sounds very Good Burger-esque.
I caught some Good Burger vibes from some of Kel's lines.
Yeah, there was some Kel Good Burger, Good Burgerness in here. So
well, this is filmed like months before they filmed Good Burger.
Right. Yeah.
Like it's about to happen. So they Kel says, "It's the thought that counts."
And then Kenan replies with, "I don't want to know what you're thinking." Already a good back and forth, the back and forth that we're gonna see again later on. It's pretty abundant in this episode. And
the way the scene ends too, it really, like, they're getting up to the like classic intros because the energy's there when just Kenan leaves the stage with Kel being like baffled. In this one, he says, "Come on, Puddin' Pop, this way to comedy."
I love that line. The Puddin' Pop's great, but this way to comedy, and then he rolls the cart off stage. It's like,
yeah. Kel's just like, "Kenan, why did he call me Puddin' Pop?"
Yep. And yep. So Kel tries to do something nice for Kenan, and Kenan just kind of takes that and makes something fun of it.
The funny thing is that as we'll get into later in the episode, it's not Kenan's birthday, but it's someone else's.
Yes.
So Kel would got half of it right.
And like the magic of birthday wishes, there's some more magic at birthday parties that we're about to explore a little further.
Yes. Let's start in Rigby's.
We open up with the very baffled Chris, who is pacing around the store waiting for his only employee. And Kenan arrives, and we find out that he was late.
Chris has a 4:00 appointment that he's taking his mother to, and Kenan just tardy. Did you notice that the store doors are just flown wide open in this scene?
Yeah, I did.
For some reason, they're just I guess maybe they had a spill or something. They're kind of trying to air out the space.
I don't know, yeah, but you can definitely see outside the store too. Usually they try to like cover that up and not
I feel like that's a season 2 development. They got the rest of the set out there.
Yeah, there's a telephone booth and some trash cans.
Oh, what's the appointment that Chris is late to?
He is taking his mother to get her foot scraped, or I suppose her feet scraped.
I certainly hope it's not just one.
Though it was not made very clear.
But yes, he describes in very gross fashion that they get crusty, and the doctor has to use power tools to like grind all the crust off.
Yeah, and of course Kenan is viscerally reacting to this the whole while.
Yeah,
as you'd expect. But yeah, it's pretty gross.
So he informs Kenan to behave himself because there'll be heck to pay otherwise.
He says, you have to behave responsibly. And Kenan says, trust me to be responsibly. At least I think that's how the joke went.
Yeah, no, that was the joke. I still don't get it. That's the third time I've heard it. Because it rhymed? But
yep. Earlier in this scene, we also had Chris say sassing. Like, he doesn't need Kenan sassing him. And Kenan responds with sassing. One of his go-to, what did you call that? Enunciations? That's not it.
We should probably name it something, because it happens a lot.
No, it's like accent. But, what is that thing called when you put an accent on a word? Emphasis?
Emphasis, yeah, that's the Drake and Josh thing too.
Yeah,
so.
Emphasis. Yeah, so
the word that's emphasized this episode is sassing.
We should make that a list. Add that to the
it's coming.
Excel sheet.
It's the first one since Merry Christmas, Kenan.
Yeah, or the. I wonder if Y counts on this list. Does Y count, or is that a separate list?
Separate list.
Can we have some overlap in case there's ever a?
Yes, if he ever. I'll make a Venn diagram for the occasions.
When's the last time you made a Venn diagram?
More often, I use the phrase "make a Venn diagram" more often than I actually make them.
I do not use that phrase, but okay, let's get back to the scene. So,
Kel arrives.
As soon as Chris leaves, Kel enters, opens up a bag of chips.
Sits on the counter, opens up the bag of chips. Eats one chip, then Kenan reprimands him and staples the bag shut.
Yeah, Kenan's making it very clear that he's behaving responsibly.
Does this count as ruined groceries?
Yes.
You don't think the staple job they did?
Why does he have a stapler so readily available?
Yeah.
I guess there was more paper back then, so I don't.
Kenan's talking about how they're teenagers now and they have to be more serious and responsible.
In walks a clown.
Clown! Is what they literally say.
Literally instantly after they say they have to be more grown up. They are blown away that this clown is here. They are so excited. Kenan's checkered shirt and all. And they ask him to start making balloon animals.
He does. He starts with, per Keen's request, a dog.
And while he's making the dog, Kel goes, making a dog. To the left, to the right. Something like that.
Yeah.
Which, again, very Good Burger-esque.
He's got the energy.
He's got the energy. He's.
There's I know another couple of Good Burger moments later. But yeah, no. What animal does Kel request?
A snake.
And yeah, he does does a big show of doing nothing.
Yep. He folds the balloon a couple times, fakes ties it, and then he hands Kel just an inflated balloon, and he's elated.
Now, something that doesn't sound important, but will be later, happens here. The clown sneezes.
Yeah, it's a very hesitant sneeze. It's the build-up. And then he kind of spits in their face, and he goes... Doo-doo-doo-doo.
Yeah, we should... I'm going to imitate it, too, because Kenan and Kel imitate it several times throughout the episode. He goes... Okay,
that was much more accurate than mine. I would like to take a little sidebar here and tell everybody that Adam sneezes by saying the word "achoo."
Yeah. I know you tell all kinds of people that, because the first time I met your girlfriend, she's like, oh, he does sneeze like that.
You go, "achoo."
Yeah, I don't know how that's wrong. I guess I am.
It's not wrong. It's just peculiar. Nobody sneezes like that.
Maybe eagle-eared listeners might hear it sometime on the show.
I really hope so.
Yeah. He pulls out a big old handkerchief, like the clown way, like a never-ending handkerchief, to blow his nose.
And Kenan goes, that handkerchief is endless. This whole time, as the clown's doing stuff, Kenan and Kel are like in their prime.
They are.
It's really good banter. It's just back and forth, really quick. It's like they, if they took a couple shots here, like a couple takes, they really nailed it at the end. It felt like the energy was there. It wasn't like slacking or forced.
Again, even if this isn't a regular like writer, Kenan and Kel still know what they're like. They know their characters super well by now, and their chemistry is apparent. But yeah, the clown has another trick for them, which involves two of them sitting on the floor.
So Kenan and Kel sit on the floor back to back, and the clown takes the handkerchief, and you can't really tell what he's doing at first, and then you realize that he's tying their hands together.
Yeah, with the handkerchief that's wet with clown mucus.
The clown walks behind the counter, and one of them says, "Oh, he's gonna do a trick with the money."
Yeah, their expressions are very good because they're still elated and happy because they're like, "Oh man, I think he's gonna make the money disappear."
Really bubbly, optimistic. They're
and
like
the clown's
kids.
like nodding while they say that. He's like, pulls out a sack, puts the money in the sack.
Yep, and then he runs away.
Yep, he waves at them, and they're like, "Bye, clown."
And they're sitting on the ground laughing and smiling. They're like, "Wow, he ran away with all the money." And then Kenan says, "And we're still tied up."
I want to highlight something here in a sec, but they like start looking at each other and start freaking out, and then together they shout, "We've been robbed by a clown!"
Yes. The thing you're going to point out is probably the thing I'm going to point out, which is a brand new camera angle for Kenan and Kel.
Yes, like a top-down camera.
It's really, really good.
It's like this. Like I felt like I was on like a bungee, like a bungee operator, like dropping down.
Yeah, it was probably just somebody holding the camera like on a stick or something like that, or something. But it was really good. It zooms in as they're yelling that. You can see them back to back. Like Kel's head goes to the right, Kenan's head goes to the right, and they're both looking up at the camera, kind of.
Yeah, there's a couple other shots that are unique in this one too.
Yeah, I agree. That's probably the director.
Yeah, that's the director. Although same director as last episode, oddly, and I didn't notice any weird camera things that time around.
Okay, well, maybe they got some new equipment or something. But yeah. Anyways, really, really funny way to end this opening scene, which didn't seem too long and didn't seem forced. It seemed like had a really good pace to it. A lot of humor to like keep you involved early on. So
one scene and you like learn all the pieces of the story. It sets up everything in motion. Yeah,
and it took about 6.5 minutes or something like that. 6 minutes.
Again, it's one of those continuous scenes too. it just they didn't cut or anything like that. They just kept going.
Yep. Well, I think they cut the
sure,
camera angle. And we're not talking Kill Bill here.
Right. So Kenan and Kel are corroborating their story to the police officers.
Corroborating.
Good one.
Thanks. Yeah, so there's two police there, and one of them has a sketch pad. So they asked for Kenan and Kel to describe the perpetrator, and as they do, this guy is drawing the clown.
And he spins it around, and you see just a drawing of a clown.
Yeah. It's really good.
They're like, "That's him!"
I got a piece of Amazon trivia for you about this.
Oh, please,
it says,
do tell.
How can the cop sketch the clown with the rainbow-colored hair and all when all he had to draw was with a regular pencil? That is a horrible sentence.
That's really bad.
It's not even that fun.
Yeah, I just did a quick check. This is not the same officer as in the pilot episode. I had a feeling it might be, but this is credited as Officer Friendly is one of them.
The one officer kind of looks like Heath Ledger when he when he's dressed up as a cop.
He does look a lot like that. Oh man, I'll put that on Twitter for the fandas to see.
Yeah, sorry everybody.
No, but that's a good one. So Chris arrives to the scene, and he is flabbergasted that the officers are here.
Yeah, he left Kenan in charge of the store. He comes back, and there's police officers. So Chris says, runs over, and he says, "What did you do? Tell me."
Yeah, and the officer explains that you've been robbed by a clown.
Yeah, which Chris is like, "No, how could this happen?" And he walks behind, looks at the register, and then they basically are just like, "Hey, Chris, what's that you have in your hand?" And he goes, "Oh, it's Mother's foot scrapings."
Yep, just the real gross.
Which, as a viewer, a passionate viewer of this show, I hope that's the last time we hear about Mother's foot scrapings. But
yeah,
it's not.
It's not, no. I do want to say, what do you think of this crime committed by the clown? And do you think it's all Kenan's fault that this happened?
As somebody who educates high schoolers, I'm going to say it's not his fault because he was so wrapped up in the moment and he was so curious about what the clown was going to do next that he trusted the clown. And so I don't think it's his, it might have been a lack of judgment, but I don't think it's his fault that he was so wondrously engaged with the presenter who was the clown.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the alternative scenario. If the clown wanted to rob them without enchanting them, he could have probably still done it as a full-sized adult.
Yeah, he was a pretty big clown.
Yeah, and I also, as someone that was once a cashier, I do want to say that my cashier training is if you're being robbed, don't put up any fights.
Yeah, you just kind of...
you do it, the register's insured, and it's also not a lot of money. Once it hits a certain amounts, the manager comes by and empties it.
Yeah, absolutely. The funny thing about this actually is you would probably never see a corner store like this today, because all of the corner stores like this are, the cashiers are behind plexiglass because they get robbed so often.
Yeah,
7-Elevens and all that.
I'm surprised Chris didn't update it that way.
Yeah, I mean, back then it probably wasn't common practice.
Yeah. Also, he sells 3 bananas for $1. How much cash do you think is sitting in that
local family corner store?
Yeah. So Chris is very upset with the situation, and that's that's about it, right?
I do think we should give Chris some credit because he did pretty good. This was a good Chris episode so far.
Yeah. Oddly enough, the standouts of this episode are, I should say, if there's 2 people that this episode was about, it's not Kenan and Kel. It's Chris and Kyra.
Yeah, but Kenan and Kel almost play a supporting role, and they do a great job of it. It's
a good support, but there's other stories happening in this one episode, which we like it when they're focused sometimes, but they're full stories.
Yeah, exactly, and but I just wanted to point out because I'd be remiss if I didn't say it. But Chris's banter and Chris's, charm in this episode is...
Criticisms.
Yeah, his criticism. Maybe not charm. It's kind of the opposite of charm. Anti-charm. Anyways, that was good. So we transition to the Rockmore kitchen.
Yes, and a nice moment here, I thought, as Kenan and Kel are... Kel sipping a can of orange soda, talking to their dad about what happened. And his dad is he's very happy that Kenan's okay.
Yeah, and then Kel says, and I'm okay too, or something like that. And Roger just kind of is but yeah, very consoling Roger, very listening and kind and empathetic.
I do also want to say that in the last scene, Kel was nursing a 2-liter of orange soda.
Oh, yep, that's very important.
I think in a little more modern lens, he'd have a security blanket over him. That's the kind of console that he was getting.
Yeah, like he was in a car accident or something, security blanket. I don't know if they would have brought that, but anyway.
Well, like that, it's like that in the hot cocoa.
Right. Yeah. Anyways, Kel reveals that he has Chris's mom's foot scrapings, and as he's trying to shove the closed bag in Kenan and Mr. Rockmore's face, Mrs. Rockmore and Kyra walk in.
Yes, they have their arms full of birthday party favors.
Yes, Kyra's birthday is coming up on Saturday. She's turning 9 years old, and she's having a party with all of her friends.
Well, hang on. It just occurred to me that this is a birthday, so her age is changing.
Oh, this is problematic.
Yeah, I was surprised that she's still 9.
Is she 9 turning 10? Or did they say 9?
She's got to be 9 turning 10. That's what makes the most sense.
Right.
And I'm happy with that, because at the start of this season she's 9 turning 10. Maybe at the start of last season she was 8 turning 9. So that tracks.
Yeah, it tracks. I really don't think the writers of this show spent a lot of time getting these. They didn't think anybody was ever going to be doing a podcast about the show. Every single episode. There's no way that was on their radar.
Not even a little bit, no. But I looked up the actress that plays Kyra, Vanessa Baden.
Uh-huh.
And when she was filming this, early 97, she was like 12 years old.
It's so interesting why they choose to do things like that.
Yeah, so it's like she's 12 playing like 9, it's crazy.
She does look more 9 than 12, though.
Yeah, I think so?
I don't know. I'm not around children much. I don't.
Yeah, I cannot tell the difference between like 4 and 6 and 8. It's all. She was born. Her birthday is September 8th. Hey, today.
Oh my God! Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Vanessa.
We should tweet her. No way! Wow. How old is she?
Whoa, that's crazy. She's.
That's so funny.
I didn't even plan that. No,
we're watching the episode about Kyra's birthday.
We're recording on Tuesday too. We don't normally do that, so that's.
It was meant to be, Adam.
Yeah, I suppose so. So she would have been 11 when this was filmed. So, yeah.
So how old is she? That means she is now
35 is what she turned today.
Wow. I will have to find her on social media and wish her a happy birthday.
I'll do it right now from our accounts.
Please.
After this episode,
please do.
So she shows off the birthday poppers that she got directly into Roger's ear.
And Roger just never recovers from this.
He has been disabled for the rest of the scene.
What's really funny, so he's like yelling, like, did somebody say something?
Hello? Hello?
It's really funny because he sits down at the table, he's like rubbing his ear, and he's acting like there's all he hears is like these faint, like, you know, sounds of voices, but like he's acting like he can't see anybody. He's like looking up at the ceiling.
Yeah,
and he's asking if somebody said anything. And everybody's right, like he can look to see if they're addressing him. Yeah, but he's just so it just adds to the like,
zero mouth reading or anything.
The ridiculousness of the scene. He like gets thrown into another like room of the house.
Yeah. I like what he says. He says, will someone pick up the phone?
That was not a Roger impression.
Oh, wasn't it? Let me try to top that.
Mr. Krabs.
Yeah, okay. Would somebody... No, that's not Roger. What happened to my Roger? I used to do a great Roger.
Like a couple days ago, you did a good Roger.
Twizzles. Like this. All right, but
we don't have to. Oh,
yeah. He that's the other thing that we learned in this scene is that Kyra realized that they did not get any shrimp because she wanted to have shrimp at the party to impress a kid from school named Megan. It's that. I think someone in the Dan Schneider family doesn't like Megan as a name because
yeah,
all these evil girls are named Megan.
Yeah. There's also the ominous foot backstory of this episode that we don't have to address.
Well, this is anti that for sure. This is the grossest possible thing that could happen to feet.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Dan Schneider did not write this episode, is what I'm saying.
I really hope he didn't.
He would disapprove of gross feet.
Okay. Anyway,
Okay.
So long story short, Mr. Rockmore is sitting at the kitchen table screaming because he has no idea what people are saying. And Kenan and Kel are sent to go get some shrimp from the store.
Yes.
At Rigby's. For some reason, Rigby's carry shrimp.
They're like 15 minutes away. They got all every grocery that they need so far.
Yeah, that's pretty... I don't know what corner store sells shrimp.
Yeah, they have to keep them like cold and fresh, right?
That's not a very, like, easy product to hold.
They might be getting them frozen, possibly.
Maybe.
Makes a little more sense. But yeah, no, they cut to another camera angle. We see the outside of Rigby's. Something we haven't seen since the pilot episode.
Yep, and there's a few signs in the door. Gina's Pasta, $1.25 for 16 ounce. Adam is loving this because you get all of your prices down for future episodes. Red's Roasted Nuts is $1.59. Anyways, they're trying to open the door. It's in the middle of the day, and the door won't open. And Kel says, "Oh, I have an idea." So he goes back pretty far. And then we cut to the inside of Rigby's, and we see Kel burst through the door.
Chris is stacking up cereal boxes.
And Kel runs right into Chris as the alarm is going off, knocks Chris and this very strangely placed in the middle of the floor display of cereal boxes.
Yes.
Knocks that over, and it's.
I counted about 4 cereal boxes destroyed. The rest of that could be salvaged.
Okay.
But, like, crushed and ruined by Kenan and Kel's efforts.
Okay.
That's it. So, Chris is very upset with them and has a quick succession of criticisms here.
He does. He has, you struck my patootie.
Yeah, and then he runs over and he says, you busted my latch.
He's like a pirate.
Be busted. Be busted busted is a fine word.
It's almost like he messed up. What's our actor's name? Dan. It's like Dan messed up. Dan Fisher. And then they kind of just kept it in. Anyways, Chris is so upset that he was robbed that he went like to great lengths to make sure he was never robbed again. So he got an alarm, which is going off, and he turns off. And he also got a video surveillance camera, which when he says, Kenan and Kel look up at it and give it like a peace sign, like pose.
Yeah, he also has a latch, which they had broken.
Right, the broken latch. And then he has an attack dog, which is a hefty investment.
Yeah, that thing has to be like trained and properly fed.
But like...
Have you ever seen any store, like any store whatsoever with a attack dog?
No, that kind of dog like that who's grown up and already trained has to be like $3,000, $4,000.
Yeah, very expensive German Shepherd.
Anyways, the German Shepherd's name is Bloodbath, which is
awesome.
An amazing name for a dog.
I've never heard of a dog with that cool of a name.
The next time we play D&D, I'm gonna be Bloodbath.
Yeah.
I've only played once before, but my name was not that cool.
No, Kel was enchanted by that there's a dog, so he runs to pet the dog.
Yeah, so he brings the dog out front, and he's just like stroking the dog. And
well, did you hear what Kenan and Kel? Do you hear what Chris and Kenan are like shouting at Kel too? He's like, no, don't do that. And Chris says, "It's feeding time."
That should be like a T-shirt.
It's feeding time. That's a good catchphrase for Bloodbath, the character.
Bloodbath, just like feasting on like a human being. It's feeding time.
You're like a barbarian. It's feeding time.
Yeah, you should get a scary like dog image. Yeah. Anyways, so Chris is like, "What? That dog's supposed to be vicious. That's not supposed to happen." And then instantly
he reprimands the dogs. He's like, "Bad dog," which of course makes it bark very violently at him.
Yeah, snarl and then chase him out of the store. Kel just like lets the leash go. Very like somebody must have had their dog like on set that day.
I think that's a trained barking and running dog.
I wonder.
Okay, a trained barking and walking dog.
I want to know why it wasn't in the credits.
Oh man, who played Bloodbath? Yeah, I'm disappointed.
I'm sure he lived a great life.
Oh yeah, he got to be Bloodbath. That is a great life.
Okay. Anyways, that's the end of that scene.
Transition is like a bunch of claw marks.
Yep, good transition there.
Yeah, and we are getting ready for the party at the Rockmores.
Yeah, so Kel is inflating a balloon on the couch, and then he says, "I can't do this anymore," and he just like lies down.
He faints, blowing it up. Second time this has happened. Same joke was in Da Bomb.
This episode far superior than Da Bomb. But anyways, Kel is fainted on the couch, and Kyra says, "Ooh, let me give him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation," and runs over and jumps on Kel, and yeah.
Next thing that happens is that the phone rings.
Oh, this is the best.
Kenan answers it, picks it up, and then he shouts upstairs, "Mama!"
Except he like voice cracks and screams really loud.
Yeah,
I wonder if you can you cut that in just because?
Yeah, that'll go in. And if you notice that's a, I was remembering times from our childhood, just getting mom's attention from anywhere in the house, especially when the phone rang.
Yep, that was probably pretty natural of Kenan.
He does that, hangs up the phone, and then he goes to put on his jacket because they don't want to be around here with a bunch of 9-year-olds messing, all being hyperactive everywhere.
Kenan and Kel are headed out the door, and Mr. and Mrs. Rockmore come down in a fizzle.
Intercept them.
To intercept them, yes. We find out that Aunt Gertie has been arrested. She got into a fist fight at the bowling alley.
Which is really that's just funny improv. Or not improv, but that's a funny gag.
Yeah, funny gag. It's not stupid. It's like that is funny. I can see it right now. So anyways, Kenan and Kel have to stay and chaperone. And as Mr. and Mrs. Rockmore are headed out, Kenan is pleading because he really wants to go. He says, "Can't we discuss this? Fatherly figure, life giver."
Yeah,
it's kind of in passing, but one of my favorite lines from this episode.
It's very good. I wonder if this is gonna pay off in some way, because this is a thread from last episode, if you recall, that Kenan keeps getting saddled with watching Kyra. And I looked through the season, Kyra's in a lot of these episodes. Oh. Unlike last season where she was like missing from half of it.
Okay, that's good. Maybe she got a better contract.
Yeah, maybe.
She proved herself in season 1.
She did so at Da Bomb that they're like, "Oh, we're giving you your own party."
Oh, God.
Yeah, but no, now they have to babysit a bunch of hyperactive 9-year-olds.
Or 10-year-olds.
Or 10, some 9, some 10. To which Kel says, "Oh, come on, how bad can it be?" Smash cut to him being assailed by like 6 kids with pillows.
Yep, and then Kel's trying to run away from them. He runs over to the other side of the room, and Kenan is having popcorn hurled at him by the fistful.
Yes, there's 2 things I like to point out about this party scene. One, about maybe 14 kids, 13, 14 by my count. A good number of 9-year-olds. The other thing is that let's talk about Kenan and Kel's hats. Their party hats.
Oh, they're phenomenal.
They're amazing. So Kenan's got on like this kind of like this black like cowboy hat.
It's like a small cowgirl hat. Almost.
Yeah. And he gets into the character with it because he does a bunch of like cowboy like sayings and stuff like that throughout and he takes on that effect later in the show, which is great. And Kel's hat.
It's a very small firefighter's helmet.
Yeah, it's like it would belong on like a doll.
Yeah.
So ironically, in this one episode, you see more. Kenan's wearing more of a hat than Kel does normally.
Good
And
catch.
Kel's wearing less of a hat. You can see his fade.
Yeah. You see a lot of Kel's hair in this episode, which we like that.
The doorbell rings, and a final kid joins the party. It is Megan.
And she introduces herself. She said, and then she greets Kyra by saying, "Hi, Kayla."
Yeah, and she, you know that she's a bad girl because she has a leather jacket on.
Which she takes off, and I don't know if she throws it at Kyra or something. Or...
Yeah, and she is immediately, not to one up Kyra in like one dimensionality, is very attracted to Kel.
Yes, she sees him from across the room, and she thinks it's love at first sight. So she walks up to Kel and says,
First, I must say that when she sees Kel, he's leading a dance routine.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's like, it's like choreographed.
This is the Good Burger moment I was thinking of.
Yeah. That's really funny because there's like more to the scene happening in the background, and while like Kyra is greeting Megan at the door. Anyways, Megan walks over. She says, "You are so cute." And Kel says, "Well, I did go to 4 years of cute school." Which
is also a very Ed line from Good Burger,
yeah,
too.
very Ed.
Yeah. And yeah, Kyra trying to persuade Megan to give her any attention whatsoever, offers her 7 pounds of shrimp that she got.
It just disgusts me that they had to use that that massive of a number. Like that 7 pounds of shrimp is like $40.
Yeah. Well, she doesn't want any shrimp. She'd rather have 140 pounds of Kel.
It's just a terrible line.
Which I wonder how accurate that is.
Probably fairly accurate.
Yeah. Or like if Kel's like, no, I'm 138 pounds, so you get that number wrong.
Maybe.
I don't. Yeah, it's there's a lot of Kel facts that come out in this moment that I can't really cite for later because they make no sense.
They don't make much sense.
They don't have any backing to it.
No, but
there's no doctor on staff.
Anyway, I mean, we did learn that there's an Aunt Gertie. I mean, that's.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yes, and she likes to bowl, or she doesn't like to bowl. But regardless, we clip over to kids dancing on the coffee table, and Kenan is trying to get them off, so they don't get off at first. They give him a little attitude, so he picks one up, and these kids are like 1/3 the size of Kenan, so he just picks them up and like moves them, and then the other kid he grabs and slings over his shoulder.
Yeah, he really disables them real quick.
It's pretty funny.
But the doorbell rings, and all the kids are here. Who could it be? to Kenan and Kel's horror, who is at the door?
A clown who looks exactly like the clown who robbed them.
Yes, and cut to commercial. So
this way to comedy, Adam.
Yeah, this is a great premise. This is a great setup.
It was a good setup. And there's still plenty of time for like this scene to develop. It's not rushed or anything. So,
and develop it does, but first they rush into the kitchen.
Which I like. I like this. Like they have
they keep going back into the kitchen, and each time they're like more like hasty.
Yeah. So the first time they go in, and they are just like befuddled.
Kel wants to call the police, but Kenan's smart enough to realize they don't have any evidence.
Yeah, he tries to figure out if it's actually the bad clown.
Yes. So what's the first hint that they think that they can get the clown to do?
Well, this one is Kenan's idea, and so they go out and they ask the clown who is entertaining the children to make some balloon animals, namely a dog.
Yes, he makes a dog, gives it to a kid. Kenan snaps it from that kid.
The kid cries.
The kid starts crying.
I didn't notice that the first time, but now I'm looking at it. I'm like, this kid is crying.
It is the exact same dog that they saw earlier. So Kenan and Kel rush into the kitchen again, hastier than before,
and more frantic.
Yeah. Do you notice that they like clear the entire kitchen? They like go from the door to like the opposite corner.
Yeah. They're it's really funny.
Yeah.
But I like it because they're very serious about like justice, right? Like they want this clown to if he is the clown who robbed them, they want him to meet his demise, and they don't just ruin it by screaming like you're the clown. They try to devise a plan and build evidence, and it's really good legal work, good legal premise.
Absolutely, and yeah, that's some good writing, is what I would say that is. So good job, Magda. And yeah, this time Kel has the idea of what to do next, and that's that. What is it?
Well, he had that funny sneeze, right? We should make him sneeze.
Yes, Kenan goes to get the pepper, and they're all out.
Yep.
But what they're not out of is Chris's mom's crusty foot scrapings.
Unfortunately, we return to this bag of what looks like onion powder.
Yeah, that's a good guess. I really like that this came up again, because at first, coming off of the first season, I thought it was just gonna be a nonsense gag,
Right.
that's introduced in the first half of the episode and then never talked about again. But it followed them back to the house, and it's like a Chekhov's gun. It comes into play in this sneezing finale.
I should give it more credit. It's just it's so
it's good writing, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I agree.
If he just used powder, it wouldn't be as effective.
No, very true, very true. So, anyways, Kenan pours some crusty foot powder into Kel's hand, and instructs Kel to go, put it in the clown's face somehow when he's not looking.
So Kel, and this is their sneaking scenes are very great.
The party's going on, the clown's entertaining, the kids are having
He's doing
a
a
good time.
handkerchief bit.
Yep. And then Kel is sneakily walking behind the couch, away from the kids.
Kenan's hiding in the balloons. Yeah, and so Kel goes to throw the foot powder at him, but he misses entirely and hits all the kids.
Yeah, so there's foot powder.
Every single kid.
There's foot powder all over the children and the living room.
And they all start sneezing and coughing, and Kel rushes back through the balloons, and the balloons are some really funny props, I just gotta say.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah, before Kel's cue to throw the foot dust was Kenan giving him the okay through the balloons, which was really funny.
Yeah, they bowl once again into the kitchen, and Kel says, "I've never thrown foot powder at a clown before."
And so Kenan's you didn't do it very well. Let me show you how it's done. And so
in his cowboy voice.
Yeah, let me show you how it's done.
Let me show you how it's done.
And Kenan grabs a fistful of this dust, and then he's got that look in his eyes oh yeah, I'm coming for you. And Kel yells my favorite line of the episode, "Come on, Big Daddy!"
Yeah, that's really good.
It's just so good. It's cheering on his boy.
He cuts another scene of more of the same between Megan and Kyra. Megan's not having a good time, but she likes Kel, and Kyra has a lot of emotional maturity, if you ask me, in this moment, because she's trying to reason with Megan. She's like, "Look, Megan, Kel's been my guy for a while, and he can't just come in here and get involved here." But Megan continues to ignore her. Kenan suggests that they all sing a rousing song. You know, that old birthday tune?
Jolly Good Fellow.
Yep.
Is that what he called it?
Yeah, he says, "Let's sing Jolly Good Fellow."
Yeah.
So, they all sing the non-copywritten birthday song. And do you notice that Kel is doing some harmonizing while they sing it?
I didn't know. That's funny.
Yeah, that happens at our birthdays, family birthdays.
Oh yeah.
A lot of singers in the family that harmonizes.
Yeah, it's the most extra happy birthday song ever. They probably have to sing Jolly Good Fellow because this is back when the birthday song was copywritten.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yep.
But yeah, as they're singing it, Kel's just going every now and then, "Oh, oh, oh."
Anyways, Kenan sneaks behind the clown, and at the perfect moment, blows the foot dust right into his nose.
He sneezes in a very long way, and it sounds exactly like the clown from her before.
And then we have some more fantastic camera work.
Yeah, the first shot is of Kenan's face. Like, just his face is the whole screen.
Yeah.
And he's going like, "Ah!"
Yeah.
And then what's the second shot?
The next one is like Kel's eyes.
Just his eyes. That's probably the closest we get of any face in the whole show.
No, it was just wonderfully done.
Yeah, and he sneezes, and they once again like pummel through the balloons into the kitchen.
Yeah.
For the fourth time to grab the phone and try and call the police.
And they pick up the phone, and Kenan asks what the number for 911 is.
And Kel says he forgot. At that moment, I thought, like, this is a little stupid for Kenan. But then I asked myself, if it'd be stupider if Kenan was the one that forgot.
Right.
Yeah. And Kel was the one that said, what's the number for 911?
Right.
But they solve it. They get in touch with the operator. They get through to the police.
Very quickly, I might add.
Yeah. And what's even quicker is what they tell the police officer.
Yep. There's a bad clown in the living room.
Okay, bye.
That's it. I mean, we run into another Merry Christmas Kenan conundrum where how that was not long enough for them to track the call and find out. Maybe it was. I don't know how landlines really worked. Even though back in last season we did that introduction with Alexander Graham Bell.
Well, I think landlines might be a little more reliable of a source than cell phones when it comes to tracking.
That makes sense.
Because that's the only way the rest of the episode could make sense, so I'm going with it.
We'll run with it.
So they're like, all right, all we gotta do is keep the clown here, and it's all solved, right?
Exactly. Except the clown is on his way out. Which, might we say, that clown was there for about 4 minutes.
Yeah,
That
not
is-
very long at all.
That is a crime in and of itself.
I thought what was really cool was the again, awesome camera work. They used the little like blinders between the kitchen and living room divider, and you see through it that the clown is going like through the front door.
Yeah, that is pretty good. Like over through the breakfast bar, kind of.
They devise a plan to stop the clown, which is a pretty great plan, if you ask me.
I think so. So before they devise the plan, Kel tries to run away, like he usually does.
Oh, yeah.
Fight or
Kel.
flight. Kel is definitely
Kel's
one
the
to flight. Yep.
Yeah. Kel, what are you, a coward?
And
He says, yup.
very honest, very forthright, but Kenan does not settle for that. So
Kenan gets the best out of him.
he does. He gets the best out of him, and he pushes him to be better than he is. Anyways, Kenan runs out the back door, and the clown opens the front door, and Kenan is waiting for him with that, like, you know,
Cowboy look.
like leaned up against the door frame, like he's in a saloon.
His line is, going somewhere? Clown. And then Kel says my favorite line of the episode.
Go for it.
He, from the kitchen, sprints across the living room and, like, leaps onto the clown's back, and he shouts, "You'll never make the surface, paleface!"
just like the culmination of a great Kel episode, a really good
Yeah.
Kenan episode.
He hops on him like a backpack, and they slowly grapple him across the living room, knocking over presents and almost the lamp.
Yep, they tackle him onto the couch conveniently.
And the kids all like, oh, pile on the couch.
Yeah, so all the kids jump on, and they're all kind of like trying to, you know, punch the clown or whatever, tackle him.
Yeah, the Rockmores come home, Cheryl and Roger, and they are in disbelief at the scene in front of them. And Kenan and Kel are trying to hastily explain, no, you don't understand. This is the clown that robbed Rigby's.
And the cop says, "No, this is the clown that robbed Rigby's."
Yeah, the police officers are right behind the Rockmores, and I love the way that they handle the. Well, they handle the robber clown by like slamming him against the door frame.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, "Is this the guy?" And they confirm it. To which the clown replies, "Jerks." It's like, "I'm sorry, clown. I'm sorry that you robbed this convenience store."
Yeah.
And they ratted you out.
And I would have got away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids. And your dog, Bloodbath. Sorry.
Man, Bloodbath didn't get enough in this episode.
Didn't get enough airtime.
But yeah, so upon realizing that the true clown has been captured, who was trying to rob the snacky mart, they look to the clown that's on the couch and hastily try to fix him up, but to no avail. What does he declare?
He declares that he is calling his lawyer, the clown lawyer, and he marches off.
Presumably to his small car to leave in a huff.
Yep. Anyways, we cut back into the living room, and Megan declares that this is the worst party she's ever been to.
As she tries to leave with Kel, Kyra has had enough, and it gives her some punch before she goes.
Yeah, so she grabs the punch, and she walks over to Megan, and she slowly pours it on her in a very dramatic fashion.
Yeah, Megan stands there and takes it. And she gets very upset with Kyra at this. But someone jumps to Kyra's defense.
It is a young Mr. Kimball. He jumps up and he runs over to Kyra and he says, well, first off, Megan calls her a...
monster.
Monster?
I think so. That's what I heard.
A monster or brat?
Both.
Okay. And Kel runs over to or walks over to Kyra, puts his arm around her, and says, "Don't talk that way about my girlfriend."
Yes, and the dramatic reveal, and then he says, "Happy birthday, baby," and kisses her on the cheek.
and then they like embrace, like Kyra like falls into it like it's like a prom pose. It's really funny.
So this is an awesome Kel moment.
I think so.
By the way, yeah, I was a little concerned early in the episode that Kel he's not as stupid as he sometimes is. But I think that's okay. He's still he brings a good energy to the episode, and it shows that, and the way that Merry Christmas Kenan proves that Kenan's got a good heart is that Kel, even though he is very annoyed all the time by Kyra claiming that he's his boyfriend, he will do it if it means that turning the tide on this jerk girl.
Exactly. I do find it. Maybe we have another theory here. Maybe Kel is just really nervous in front of adults, and he thrives in front of children.
That's actually a really great theory because he's having a blast like dancing with the kids and stuff like that.
Yeah, but like I think back to like Safe and Sorry when there's adults in the picture. Of course, Kenan was scared too, but like, Kel just kind of crumbles under the pressure of being responsibly.
There's definitely an under theme here about like Kenan and Kel like embracing childishness.
Oh yeah.
Because that's what they started off with the clown, and then they kind of fall to that early. Then there's like the scene of them in the doorway. We're like, we're not going to stay here amongst all you kids. And then they do, and so the way the episode ends is that Megan storms out to the applause of all the kids, which really makes me think like, why is Megan like the popular kid?
Right.
She doesn't arrive with any friends. Everyone is happy when she leaves.
Maybe it's her nice leather jacket.
Yeah, maybe it's her money. She like buys affection.
Right, it's possible. Basically, Kyra is hugging Kel, and Kel's like trying to get her off. Like, you knew that was just for show, right? And she's like, no, it's not. And so basically, she tackles Kel onto the couch. All the kids jump on the couch just like they did with the clown. And it ends with Kenan kind of just sitting on Kel, like sitting, like just like making a funny face and like
Kenan smiling and enjoying the kids.
Yes,
and joining them as they've conquered like this clown of adult responsibility. That's what the clown represents, right?
I think so, Adam. I think this episode is kind of like a microcosm of the macro theme of Kenan and Kel, which is like You can try to grow up, but it's a lot of fun being a kid.
Yeah, wow. The more I thought about this episode, the more like deep it really is.
I think it has layers to it. It's a great piece of cinema.
Well, that will excuse how long we talked about it. So the final scene in front of the curtain is probably my new favorite of the ones that we've seen. The new favorite ending scene.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because it starts with Kenan and Kel come out and they're like, "Yay!" And then Kenan says, "Yep, well that's the show." And then he walks away and the credits start rolling.
and Kel's like, wait, stop the credits. The credits.
Yeah, you see him like doing like the thing like he's looking at the credits.
Yeah, he's looking at the camera. And the credits stop, and Kel says like, what are you doing? Usually you make some convoluted plan and.
And I protest vigorously.
Yep.
And then run away in a huff.
And say, "Oh, here it goes," and run away in a huff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Kenan's like, "Oh, I just thought I'd let you off easy."
Which is a very nice moment of Kenan. But unfortunately, this pause has given Kenan no idea.
Actually, why don't you grab 300 pounds of egg salad and meet me at the Grand Canyon?
Yep. To which Kel has no idea how he's going to get that much egg salad.
Why don't they go to the Grand Canyon together? That's what I'm wondering.
Meet me there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you guys going to be on the same bus?
Don't you guys not have a car? Didn't we cover this before?
So yeah, I love that ending because they have their cake and they eat it too. They make the joke of they're like, "Oh, it's ending early," and they get all meta about it. But it's a good gag.
It's a good gag, yeah. So that's the episode. Oh, here it goes, and we have a good episode under our belts.
I was gonna say another great one from season 2.
Yeah, good, off to a good start. 2 for 2, I would say. Why don't we make this last little segment a little quicker, because we took a lot of time dissecting.
Yeah, I agree. There's not a lot of bookkeeping to keep track of. There's one thing I want to quick say. Whose fault is the situation? Kenan's or Kel's?
Neither.
Neither. It was a robber clown. He did what robber clowns do.
Yeah.
And so, by that logic, do you think we should charge Kenan and Kel for Chris's security spendings?
I don't think so.
I think just the latch.
Just the latch.
Just the latch that they break.
And that bag of chips. And the 4 boxes
latch,
of cereal.
bag of chips, and a couple other things.
And a 2-liter that Kel was drinking.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I mean, I think, if anything, Kenan and Kel gave the clown the benefit of the doubt, which not a lot of people do nowadays. Clowns are seen as scary to a lot of people.
Absolutely. And yeah, they're in this episode they're scary in like a crime way.
Yeah. And Kel does not like crime, as we learned last time.
He's afraid of it.
He's afraid of crime.
Yeah, you're right. Let's get into our rating here. So, on IMDb, this episode is ranked number 12 out of the 63 episodes, which is pretty high with a 7.9. So in the upper third is where it lands. What did you think of this episode?
Well, I thought it was great. I thought it was fun, enjoyable. I didn't feel like it was I was slogging along at any point. You know, I felt like it had a good pace, good rhythm, and it was a lot of fun. And then there's the added layers that we kind of broke down.
The added layers really upped my score a little bit.
Yeah.
I was... So I remember this one when I was younger seeing it, and I felt like it kind of had that season 1 vibe of those duds, but it really doesn't. Just the fact that it was written by someone else, and they did different things, but all those different things were good or alternative. Like they didn't detract from the episode. Mm-hmm. Like a mafia plot might. So, out of 10 bottles of orange soda, how many would you give Clowning Around?
I would give it 8.5.
8.5.
Yeah.
That's some high praise. I want to give it a very positive score. I think I'm landing this at like 7.5.
Okay.
Yeah. I put Parental Guidance last week at 8, and maybe that one like had a couple more, jokes that fit my mood at the time.
Right.
But by no means a bad score. So that's going to be it for this episode this week. Next time, I know I saw for myself Amazon and how messed up their order is.
It's pretty rough, but
it's all over the place. Yep.
I have the next episode right here. It's called The Lottery.
Yes.
Aired on September 20th, 1997, 9 days after I was born. This episode aired 2 days after I was born.
Right. Yeah, which also, isn't that crazy ironic that the Kyra's birthday episode lands like 5 days away from her birthday?
Yeah, that's some good
September 8th.
Planning.
Also close to your birthday, also close to the day we record this. This is...
Yeah, look at that.
I wonder if we're going to get another coincidence that crazy on the show. I don't think so.
Probably not. Yeah, probably. That's pretty
All
good.
Right. So, well, hey, for you and Kyra, for their jolly good fellows, for their jolly good fellows, for their jolly good fellows, that no one can deny.
Well, thanks, Adam. I'm going to go blow out my celebratory candles and say, oh, here it goes to next week.
Thank you for listening. You can send us an email at KenanKelPodcast@gmail.com or leave us a voicemail at anchor.fm/KenanKelPodcast. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all at Kenan Kel Podcast.